I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You.
Right.
Oh,
We got minutes, Ellen?
we do.
We got some minutes, all right.
We have the minutes of September 24th.
All right, I'll entertain a motion. Entertain a motion to approve.
I make that motion.
All right, we have a motion, we have a
Second
second.
that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, all right. Hi, Bob.
Aye.
You good with them? Okay. Unanimous. Any more minutes, Ellen?
No,
No.
It's okay. How about reports?
we have reports. Yeah. We have reports too. Treasurer's report. The treasurer report. One of those elected officials.
One of those. All right, we have the report of the clerk and reporter.
Not much cash in September. $6,000. That's
62.58 and 50 cents, so not a huge month, but still not bad. So please show for the record that we got this report from the clerk and recorder. Any other reports, Ellen? Commissioners, any reports? Correspondence? Anybody?
Nothing different.
Nothing.
More mail from Corbin.
Okay,
That's not Mr. Chair.
all right.
Mail.
It got included on the last one.
Yeah.
I even got included on the last one, so.
All right, we'll jump down to calendar review. What do we got coming up this week?
Mike one.
Okay, so here, tomorrow, 2:00, we will do board fever,
1 o'clock.
1:00. Thursday, BTAC at 8. Elected official department had lunch at noon. Survey review at 1:30. It's Mr. Mullins Friday. CSAA call at 8:30. And I have nothing on Monday.
All right, thank you, Ellen.
Yeah.
Anything to add to that, Commissioner Mullen?
You said BTEC? I don't think so. Kurt, I think everything's covered.
Commissioner Hagerty, anything to add?
Yes, Commissioner, on the third, this Thursday at 4 p.m. Jefferson River Watershed Council.
At all?
Yes, sir.
Good, thank you. The only thing I have to add, I've got a couple things tomorrow. At 1 o'clock, we're having a GLDC Executive Committee meeting. Thursday early at 7 o'clock is the Central Shop Road Safety Meeting. And we're having a quick meeting with Samantha from GLDC about the South Tippet and some of the requirements that are needed out there for DEQ, I think, water quality stuff, I think. So we're gonna talk to Steve.
South Tippet?
South Tips, yeah. Yeah, they got a well and a wastewater discharge that need a little bit of attention from the state, I guess, or to the state. So need to get her primed up to do that. And I think that is all. Hoping we get a good turnout for our elected officials.
Luncheon?
Department head meeting on Thursday, yeah. I think that was all I had on my calendar. Hi, Steve.
Commissioner, Mr. Chairman.
Right, we'll jump down to commission reports. What have we been up to? Commissioner Mullen, you want to start us out?
What are we doing? Help me there. Haber, thank you. Yeah, I went to Haber last week after our meeting Tuesday. Actually went to Haber on Thursday and Friday. It was a good meeting. It was the behavioral or the SAA Behavioral Health Summit. Gosh, we had several presenters. All of it was pretty good. Much of it I've seen before, but not in as much detail. talked a lot about school programs. But Dana's familiar with this stuff too. School programs, the program we use is a Rural Behavioral Health Institute, which does assessments on elementary school kids on whether they're having mental health issues, and they show up, and it's a voluntary process, so they have to agree to do it. They're doing that all over the state, and sometimes there are difficulties getting those programs in the schools. Schools aren't easy to wedge a new program into because they have their own thoughts, they have their own calendar set up, and they don't want to deviate. So there was a guy that came by the name of Tim Tharp. Tim Tharp at one time was the assistant director or deputy director of OPI. He's been a school superintendent, he's been a school principal, he's right now he's the county superintendent of schools in Richland County. He was actually my wife's principal at one time. So I've known Tim and I've known Tim's family for quite a while, but he said, from his point of view, the easiest way to get a new program started in the school, he says, is to plant a seed. Let them come up with the idea, let them know the benefits that's out there, and then let them push the idea forward themselves. So it'd save you a lot of time. So we may try that in the future, but he talked a lot about Hope Squad again. He thinks Hope Squad is really the way to go in these schools because it gives the kids some involvement in the prevention program itself. So it was pretty good. Talked about recovery-friendly workplaces. And something I'll have to talk to our DUI folks about. But evidently you can set up your workplace so that you don't encourage any use of alcohol. You don't talk about it. You don't idolize it. You become a workplace that's taboo on the effects of alcohol, I guess.
Become a bunch of teetotalers.
You can do whatever you want after work, I guess. It's kind of an interesting idea, though, because we have people that work here that have been addicted to alcohol or drugs, and we have all kinds of memorabilia and stuff around and conversations and stuff that really affect those people, and we don't even think about it, But it was interesting. Many Rivers Whole Health came and gave their spiel on CCBHCs. We had a presentation by some people that do drop-in centers. Drop-in centers, a mental health program where it's run after hours and people can just come there and there's a place to sit down and relax. And sometimes they fix you meals. They sometimes help you find places to rent. They provide you with services after hours, and it's kind of just a relaxed atmosphere. I worked in one at one time, but they talked about that and talked about the value that it has to the mental health system. It was a pretty good presentation. A discussion by Richland County, again, they talked about strengthening local advisory councils. So they gave us some information on what they're doing as far as their chip and their strategic plan and all of that sort of stuff that they're working on, same stuff that we're doing. So nothing new really. And that was it, Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner, in your meetings, has there been any discussion about what is happening at the state level with all of this mental health money that was allocated by the legislature last session?
Lots of discussion. Now that we talked about that again, but I reported on that every meeting, Steve, so I skipped it this time, but yeah, there's lots of discussion.
But nothing new, because we're still seeing incredible pushback from DPHHS and the state hospitals with respect to getting people in for fitness to proceed evaluations when we have somebody who needs an emergency commitment. I have a laundry list I have to go through now before the state hospital will even take them. And It's candidly what it is very frustrating.
And they're trying to take fewer, right? I mean, their plan is to take fewer people. Their plan is to give you some money and you can buy that service somewhere locally.
Where am I gonna get it?
I know.
I know I'm being rhetorical here. And Jefferson County is not, every one of my small county attorneys that I serve with on the board or that are part of the County Attorneys Association, it's the same thing. We don't have any place. And you try to get them into Butte or to Helena, their beds are full. So we just kick them out on the street when they're suffering a mental health crisis.
Yeah, they said they had 300 million, but some of that money, about half of that wasn't available to this project. You know, they gave provider rate increases with it and they had already spent it. And
Well, none of it can be spent on infrastructure to create more beds.
well, they can. They got approval to create two more facilities in the state. They haven't put them online yet, but they got the money. The legislation allowed them to build a couple more facilities. I don't think they've done it now, but they haven't moved forward with that. But they've talked about it. Another Orange Springs in eastern Montana kind of thing. You know, two of those.
Yeah, well,
Cut down on number of beds in Orange Springs.
I'll believe it when I see it. I'm very skeptical, as you can tell with this.
So am I, you know. I think what they ended up with for suggestions were not going to help Jefferson County much.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Hagerty, what have you been up to?
Survey Review Committee met last Thursday and reviewed one plat of land and forwarded it on for review. That's all I have.
That's it, huh? Okay, good deal. All right, let's see, I had a Clancy Water Sewer District meeting on Wednesday night. Actually, I had a solid waste safety meeting that morning. Just went over the floodboard pathogens workbook that we just okayed the week before. Clancy Water Sewer District, they found some good water at the legal tender well site. They pumped that up and took a good sample of it and the water looks good so far. So they've got some hope. They might have found some good water. So they're currently drilling a test well kind of back on the property behind the legal tender, which is Steve Mark's property. They're doing that as we speak. They're going to pump test that, probably test it for quantity, make sure it's not affecting any of the neighbors' wells or the legal tender well, make sure it's got plenty of water for what they need. They did not have a quorum that night, so really nothing happened besides just a report from Great West on the wells. So that was about it for that.
How much water do they need? You remember, Corey?
I don't even remember. It's not a huge amount. They gotta have two good wells, I guess. So the tough thing's gonna be getting water rights. That's gonna be the challenge. Once they find good water, is trying to find water rights to be able to provide enough water for what they need to do. So let's see, when was that? Aft Grove Community Engagement or Citizen Engagement Council meeting. That was Thursday, 2:00. Yeah, they've got some new hires, maintenance laborer, mobile mechanic, plant manager. They're looking for new positions, journeyman electrician, production labor, cement development engineer, and then a couple summer interns. They do interns out of the colleges to kind of get them into the field and give them a good job while they're out for the summer. Kind of a cool program. Chris Hines retired. He had 20 years there. Dan Wall retired. He had 30 years at the plant. Plant updates. North slurry tank repairs. They're like, I can't remember, like 50-year-old tanks that finally the bands inside of the concrete broke and the concrete started chipping off. So they had to reband it, reconcrete it. And they got two of those. They've got one done, but very costly and very expensive process, but they're getting it done. They're going to put in a 1,200 square foot single story office expansion, just right there at their normal or their regular office area there. Probably going to break ground this month or next month. Abraham Construction's the one working on that one. Let's see, they're doing they call it the Morrison Clay Hall Road and Exploration. It's another little pit above their pit. They're trying to get a little better product out of the pit. The pit there and has a mix of two different products and they're running out of one of them. So they're hoping the upper pit will give them more of the better stuff that they need. So they're gonna be running some of that through their process to see how it comes out. And hopefully it comes out well, so they'll have another bunch of product to run for years to come. So their lower pit's getting down to the water level. They've dug down, so now they're dealing with water, so they get this big dewatering plan.
Now they can wash the trucks.
Yeah. They put in a 2 million gallon pond up there on site next to the pit that will allow them to pump out and deal with the water. They're gonna have, they're actually, as they're pumping it down, they're gonna monitor, they've got test wells all the way around the pit. They're gonna make sure it's not affecting those wells and then the neighboring residential wells. Hopefully it doesn't do that, but they're watching it very close. They're probably gonna set up like a pivot, like a sprinkler pivot, like you'd see in a rancher's field to get rid of some of that water. And if they start getting too much water, they're gonna try to get a permit to pump it back into the ground out of their way, so. Kind of neat stuff going on. They need 3-phase up there, and that's part of the reason they haven't got a wash plant up there is 3-phase is expensive and they didn't really need it for anything but the wash plant until now. Now with this dewatering thing they've got going on, they're gonna require 3-phase, so they're working with Northwest Energy to get 3-phase piped up to that site, so. Let's see, anything else worth mentioning? They put in some new rail crossing arms, right? As you go into their driveway, there's a rail crossing right there. Before you get to the parking lot, they put in some rail crossing arms there so they can do their work without having to worry about people running into them as they're.
I don't think they had arms at all before.
They didn't have anything, I don't think. It was right in the middle of their parking lot, so I don't think they were too worried about it. They got a new shuttle wagon rail car mover. That's just the little gizmo that pushes the carts around. It's a lot faster and can push more weight, so they're a lot more efficient that way. They're working on renewal of their plant modernization project for the air permit up there. They get inspected for their quality of air going out there. Whatever that thing's called, their big flue that goes up, their stack anyway.
Yeah, you get CO2 testing.
Yeah, so they got to do that every couple of years, so they're preparing for the next one. Let's see, anything else worth mentioning here? One thing they're trying to get pushed through is maybe a speed study on that highway. Is it 218?
218.
518. They worried about that railroad crossing there at the bottom of the hill because people come steaming up there and you almost can't see it till you're right on it. And then maybe upgrade on the crossing arms and lights. I don't think they have crossing arms there on the highway even. It's just lights, I think.
Yeah,
it's just lights where they go across. They're trying to get Burlington Northern, whoever owns that part of the tracks to put up crossing notifications there, including arms, which would be good. Let's see, operational challenges to cost of power. Their contract with Northwest Energy is gonna expire here fairly soon, so they're gonna have to re-up their contract, which is probably gonna price of power is gonna be much more, I'm sure, than it was when they started their contract. And another challenge is recruiting experienced trade labor, so they're looking for anybody that has any ideas of trying to get experienced trade labor, which is tough in their field, I guess, as far as finding experienced labor. They can get new people and train them, but that's always harder to do. Yeah, that was about it. I had to leave that meeting early. They talked a little bit about their donation funds and what they help Helena Food Store, Montana Preservation Alliance, Mountain Home Montana, Poverello Center, Gallatin River Task Force, Gallatin Valley YMCA, East Helena Rodeo. So those are a few of the donations they put out each year. So good meeting. Headed a huge for there. Nice little spot to have a meeting.
Commissioner Kirsch, how many employees do they currently have that are employed there?
They said full staff is 85 and their current staff right now is 80. So that's a pretty good employer for the county. Yeah,
Real good job.
they're great paying jobs, absolutely. So they had some new people there that they hired on in their
Did you say Chris Hines was retiring? I thought he was just
Retired.
appointed shop manager a year or two.
yeah, I don't know. Yeah, he retired. He had 20 years there. So he might have been jumping around. Dan Wall, I don't know if that rings a bell to you. He had had 30 years there.
Hey, 30 years anywhere, you should get at least a.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
You know,
Get a challenge call.
Friday, I
Speaking
ran,
of construction, when did the highway department start its building out here?
start the building. Oh, it's been
Could
probably
they,
a month ago.
could they have built it any closer to their current shop?
Yeah, probably. You can drive through there now, can't you?
Not between the buildings.
I think that's a place for their
I
sand,
think it's the same.
because it's not closed up, it's open. And they have the big concrete barriers around there, so I think that just keep their sand dry.
It's a big facility.
It's huge, yeah, and use a lot of sand. Yep. Friday I ran down to Whitehall. GLDC had a quick meeting with the windmill people out there. They've got a new project that they're trying to get going. They want to try to do a power storage facility, they're looking really hard at the South Tippet, but we got to figure out if what they're doing is going to fit what we need to do out there. That they need to have something in the works by the end of the year, because they're trying to utilize the Inflation Reduction Act. They call it the IRA. That they will pay for some of that expense to get a power storage facility out there, which is a bunch of big batteries essentially. And to go along with that would be his wind generation through his windmills. And then they're looking really hard at the hydrogen power. So they're trying to get a kind of an energy storage facility and an energy production facility out there, and talking to Northwest Energy. It's just this big plan they got going, but they're supposed to be putting it into some kind of a plan that they can put out there so everybody.
They sell the hydrogen.
Yeah, they sell the hydrogen, and they'd also make power with it somehow.
And how many jobs will this bring?
It's in phases. The power storage doesn't take that many. It's just probably people to watch what's going on out there. But the other ones, I don't think they're that far. The phase one is the power storage. The phase two, I think, is the generation and the hydrogen generation and the wind generation. And they didn't really give us any ideas what kind of jobs that would entail. And then towards the end of their phasing, they're looking at a data center as well. So it's kind of a phase thing, but right now the big push is to get the power storage out there, because the Inflation Reduction Act, I guess, ends by the end of the year. If you don't have it at least in the works, then you lose that money. So they're figuring out if that can be something. They're putting together a proposal to see if that would fit the South Pivot or not. If not, we might have to move it somewhere else, but
I don't know what they're applying for.
they're very, very interested in that Whitehall area anyway. Let's see, this morning we met with the road department. We got complaints about traffic accessing Sheep Mountain through Rocky Mountain Estates. And I think that,
Are they using the emergency road?
yeah, I guess for recreation, they say UTVs, and did Bear say it was recreational type stuff?
They're not supposed to be using that at all.
Right, so Bear, I told Bear to talk to you because that's supposed to be, I think, just emergency.
Yeah, I can send him the easement document.
Okay, that would probably help him out. He was gonna go look at it.
I think they're giving Barb marks.
Is that what?
Yeah, I think so.
And there's an easement document that's specifically for emergency use.
Right.
So I'll find that.
I think there's signs and stuff up there. I don't know if they're just ignoring them or what's going on, but Bear was working on that. Doing a lot of grading throughout the county, pothole repair, assisted boulder with cattle guard
Side
repair,
by sides.
cattle guard up Cataract Creek. Was that the one, or was that Basin Creek? They pulled the cattle guard out. That was Basin Creek.
Yeah.
Yeah, they repaired Cataract Creek, doing some grading, vegetation, trimming up Dry Creek there. I think right where you turn off Dry Creek and Elkhorn Road there, bunch of willows in the side of the road there that cause the snow to pile up. Down in Whitehall, grading again, Durapatching, mowing in the Willow Creek area. Cattle Guard and Basin, the contractor accidentally hooked it with a piece of equipment and did some major damage on it, and the more they looked, the Forest Service said that was no longer a needed cattle guard because they don't have any grazing leases or permits up there. So I guess they were just able to take that one right out, which was nice. It's in a bad spot, and with it out of there, they can widen the road up and make it safer place anyway. They auctioned off some of their old equipment out of the shop out there and got pretty good money for some of the vehicles out there, which will help with our budget this year. And let's see, I think that was about all that's really worth mentioning on that meeting. I met with Pam Hannah's health department quick after that, and she just gave us an update of what's going on with her department. And probably the biggest thing is they don't have free COVID test kits anymore over there. They're not giving those away anymore. So I guess there's a way you can get online and get them straight from the government now, probably straight from the federal government. I think whatever they did
Post
during
office.
COVID, you could just apply and they'd mail you 2 or 3 or 4 of them for your own home. So she said that the kits that you have may have expired, but check online because they're pushing the expiration dates out on a lot of those test kits. So if you got one that says it's expired, don't take that for granted. It may not be expired yet because they have a longer shelf date than I previously thought. So, all right, I think I beat that dead horse long enough. Let's move on our agenda. All right, opportunity for public comment. Anybody here that is here for anything besides what's on the agenda? No, that's it. Okay. Final plat review, Bitterroot Meadows subdivision, Montana City. And this is the one we started to look at last week, and we figured out we had missed a piece of the puzzle, and these folks were gracious enough to let us bump it a week and work on it this week. So,
We're ready to go.
So Jay Marks did send us some comments because he was here last week and we couldn't hear him, we couldn't see him, whatever, but he did finally send me some comments, and most of his comments were weed control, which is something that, you know, every subdivision has to do anyway. So that'll be, I mean, that's nothing that the HOA or anybody would take control of. That would be the county weed department. So I think that's an easy one. Drainage ditch, obviously that was a concern of theirs during preliminary. I looked at the road and there's a nice drainage ditch on the uphill side of the road, which should catch 99% of any water coming off that. I think anything on the downhill side, we'll just have to see. I don't think there's enough. I could be wrong, but we'll just have to watch that. But I don't think he's gonna have any problem with how it's designed. We had a engineer.
Yeah, and I've watched it and actually videoed it during some pretty good rainstorms, and it's not doing anything.
Okay.
You know, it's just
The
not.
water's doing what it's supposed to.
Talking with my engineer, his thoughts were, I mean, what we've got going now is, you know, be more preventative than what was
What
there.
it was before, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, with the road there and everything.
Yeah, and then there was a kind of in the discussion of, you know, as we're getting ready to purchase this, because he was involved in the discussions. There was an extra acre that was added to his land.
Mhm.
And that was kind of, I would assume in relation to just giving them a little more buffer, but things like this, you know, so.
Sure. So you've got some room to do some mitigation on it.
Oh, for sure, yeah. But if there was any impacts, I mean, it'd be moisture,
Sure.
you know, I mean, it's not gonna be a
Runoff.
flood or anything
Yeah.
like that. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and he said his comments aren't intended to block this approval, but wanted to just shed some thoughts on future subdivisions and, you know, weeds and drainage and
Sure.
all that. But I think we're doing a good job with that, and I think it was engineered properly, and it should work fine.
Yeah, I do too. Yeah, we've seen it. It's some pretty heavy water running across both sides and filling up ponds and everything. Don't see any degradation up there whatsoever.
Okay. So, great. Anything we need? I guess I started to look at it last week and kind of rolled it up. I don't think there's really anything.
We have that.
I can just start over, huh?
Start over.
Got paved roads, it's got an IMD, or will have soon, huh? Very good, very good. Yeah, that should be a good one. Good, addition to the county. That, lot 5, is that the storage units? Or is the storage units not shown on this?
No, the first units are on there.
Okay.
Is it?
Probably a lot of this long lot along. the-
It's that one. Yeah, it's that one, right?
Yep, okay, it shows here. Okay,
Mhm.
perfect. Is that something you guys own as a storage unit? Okay, you plan on putting a house on that lot as well?
You know, we're not sure yet.
They're approved for a house on that lot.
Yeah. Sure, well, what'll transpire?
Any questions on this? You guys want to see? Okay, well, I guess I'd entertain a motion to either approve or not approve this, final plat.
What's the number, Mr. Chair? I forget.
There's no number, it's just the final plat review.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the interim subdivision final plat.
Thank you, Commissioner. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I second that, Mr. Chair.
All right, any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, all right, unanimous. Okay, the last thing on our agenda, resolution 27, 2024, resolution creating Bitterroot Meadows subdivision rural improvement district number 2531. Bitterroot Meadows subdivision rural maintenance district. And let's see, this is pretty much all
Same
the
as-
whereas, all the code. Essentially forming a rural maintenance district for the subdivision for the use of road maintenance. And snow plowing, is it weed control, pretty much everything?
There's a whole list on there.
Is it on?
Yeah, there's a.
Oh, right there, okay, snow removal and sanding, weed control. Other maintenance activities which include but not limited to repaving, chip sealing, filling potholes, cracks, culvert cleaning and repair and replacement and stormwater drainage infrastructure maintenance for common infrastructure, so. Great little tool to have,
Yes.
looks like we're gonna start with a initial estimated amount of about 3675, so that'll be a yearly amount that they get through their taxation. So that'll be good to be able to save up and be able to take care of those maintenance needs. Any questions on that one?
None.
All right, I'd entertain a motion on resolution 2724.
Move to approve resolution 27-2024, district number 2531.
Thank you, Commissioner. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, all right, thank you. All right, I think that's it. Anything else for the good of the order? Hearing none, we will be adjourned. Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Thank you,
Thanks again
guys.
for your patience on this one.
Oh, you bet. No, we appreciate all your help.